Hello, hi, welcome all of you. First of all, congratulations to all of you who have cleared mains and all the best for your interviews. Shortly, I will also be taking interviews and I will also guide the aspirants. So you can feel free to contact me if you have cleared mains. So today we will discuss the topics of chapter 3, that is aptitude, one of the foundational values of civil services, that is objectivity. In the previous lectures, we had discussed neutrality, impartiality, and non-partisanship, and also I have provided you model answers for those questions on those topics which have been asked in the earlier UPSC exams. So objectivity is also like it is related to neutrality and impartiality. How? We will see. So what is objectivity? The definition is that it is about taking decisions based on the merits of the case. So what is the merit? As an administrator, so many files will come to you. And every day you face so many challenges at your workplace, in your offices, while dealing with your superiors as well as while dealing with the public or various stakeholders, maybe businesses, maybe NGOs, maybe international organizations, maybe media. All these are the stakeholders. So, in whichever position you are, wherever you are, whatever be the situation you are in, you should always take decisions based on the merits of the case. That is what is objectivity, which is opposite to subjectivity. Objectivity means it is opposite. Objectivity is opposite to subjectivity. What is subjectivity? Subjectivity means you are subjective in nature. You are taking decision based on a subject. What is the subject? Maybe you are aligned to your region. Maybe you are aligned to your caste. For a society like in India, we have already discussed this. We have been divided based on so many parameters. We have so many castes, we have so many languages, we have so many regions, we have so many religions. At the same time, we have poor, we have rich, we have middle class. So, in a society where there are so many such parameters, then how to take a decision? Because the administrator is also coming from the same society. He might have, say, as a human, we always have certain biases, certain prejudices, which we adopt from our childhood, maybe from our parents, maybe from our elders, maybe from our schools, colleges, educational institutions, maybe with our peers, maybe with our friends. We adopt certain prejudices. We have certain biases. We carry all these. That is why we are discussing. Earlier we have discussed neutrality, impartiality and non-partisanship. Today we are discussing about objectivity. Why we are discussing at the first right? You should understand that as a human, particularly in a society like India, we are prone to biases. Our mind has been tuned like this. Okay, this guy speaks our language. So suddenly my bias factor will come. Okay, this guy belongs to my caste. So suddenly this bias factor will come. So how to overcome it? While you are an administrator, how you will overcome it? While you are a civil servant, how you are overcome it? As a public servant, how you overcome it? That is the question. That is why we are discussing all these topics. That is why these are all foundational values of the civil services. If you compare the Indian society versus Western societies, the scenario might be a little bit different. Because in Western societies, maybe these type of variations, maybe we will not able to see. But we have wide variations. We have so many languages, we have so many castes, we have so many religions, we have so many regions. At the same time, we are economically also, we are divided. We are divided up politically also. So we have so much diversity in this country. So in such a scenario, how a civil servant or a public servant should work, that's what we are discussing. So the civil servant should imbibe all these values. What are those values? Neutrality, impartiality, objectivity. So we have already said that he or she should be impartial, neutral. So then how he or she should take decisions? So I have given you certain factors. On these factors, he can take his decision based on the situation or based on case to case basis, we say. Whatever the file comes to you, you see that file and what are the facts and figures, what is the cost benefit analysis, what is the economic factors, what is the effectiveness factors. You calculate it and you make an analysis, and accordingly you should decide the case. And next file will come. So you will do the same thing to the next file also. So it should be on a case to case basis how you will take decisions, on what parameters you will take decisions. That is the question. So I have quoted certain points here. Like first is based on rationality. As you all know, civil services, the concept of Weberian bureaucracy. You all know the famous Max Weber. The Max Weber introduced this bureaucracy, civil services, based on the concept of rationality. You all know what is rationality. Rationality is taking decisions based on the facts and figures. Next I have quoted is economy, that is cost benefit analysis. As an administrator, you should always guide the political executive based on cost benefit analysis. You should say, sir, these are the costs associated with this project and these are the benefits. So benefits are outweighing, or cost might be in particular cases may be high. So we can reduce the cost by undertaking these measures. So accordingly you should advise the politician or the political executive. So whatever be the decision you are taking at the field, or whatever be the suggestion you are giving to the minister at the secretariat, your basis should always be on economic principles. That is, you should properly undertake cost benefit analysis. And also then we will talk about the long-term perspective. We have already discussed all the angles, individual versus societal benefit, short-term versus long-term. These things we are discussing again and again, because on these parameters only you have to frame all the answers. These are very important. All the angles I have discussed in the previous lectures. You just refer my previous lectures, and all the angles you will get short-term versus long-term, individual versus society. So every time you should take the decisions based on the ethical principles only. What are those ethical principles? I have already discussed that it is the long-term perspective. Out of short-term versus long-term, it is always the long-term perspective. Out of individual versus society, it is always about society. So what is long-term? Politicians will always think for short-term benefits only, because every 5 years they are going for elections. So they will always think with a short-term perspective. But as a civil servant, because you are a permanent executive, so you should always think with a long-term perspective. Next is efficiency. What is output versus input? Efficiency. The decision should always be based on, you should calculate what is the input and what is the output I am getting with this. Oh, I am spending this much money, so what is the output? Then the efficiency, your decisions will, if your decisions will be based on those efficiency analysis, input versus output analysis, then we will call it as a rational decision. So while discussing the rationality, Max Weber also emphasized on efficiency. The bureaucrat should be efficient. He should always analyze the what is the input I am, what is the cost I am making, or what is the public money I am wasting, I am spending on this, and what is the output I am getting, so that it will not be a wasteful expenditure I am making. And similarly, in sometimes we also think about the effectiveness factor. Maybe effectiveness is little bit, you can say it is opposite to objectivity. It is opposite to objectivity because effectiveness means we are always thinking about the utilitarian principles. Utilitarian principles means we are saying that how many people are getting the benefit. We are talking about the welfare. Effectiveness always talks about the welfare. Efficiency talks about cautious spending of the public money, while effectiveness talks about the people welfare. So sometimes most of the political parties these days, we are seeing that they are promising, they are making poll promises in the manifestos. They are saying that if you are voted to the power, we will give this for free. Our first 100 units of electricity will be free. Why first 100 units of electricity will be free? Their logic is that every individual will be benefited because every day it is inflation and the poor is mostly affected by inflation. So if we can help them in reducing their electricity bills, they will spend their money on somewhere else, maybe on their kids' education, maybe their kids might get better education. So let us help them. So in that scenario, we also need to see that what about the distribution companies? If the government is giving free power to each and every household, then how the distribution companies will survive? What are their what is the cost implications? These things also needs to be seen. But sometimes we ignore. For a society like India, where there is lot of poverty, where there is lot of backwardness, where there is significant tribal population, significant backward area population, then we sometimes take decisions based on the effectiveness parameter, maybe based on utilitarian principles. Maximum happiness to maximum people. We might ignore efficiency or economy principles because we are basically in welfare state. We mostly focus on welfare because it is mostly predominantly rural, backward, and society with so many of population coming under poverty. Middle class, lower middle class. I hope you understood what is objectivity, how you will take decisions daily. See, objectivity is very, very important. Even in the UPSC also, most of the time the questions have been asked like this. Why objectivity is crucial? Why should civil servants shall have objectivity? So you should write all these points. Because as an administrator, you will always be involved in a like daily administration work. Anyway, you will be doing every file, whatever the file coming to you, you should take decision based on objectivity, first thing. And second thing, while selecting the people, while recruiting, postings, transfers, promotions, training, I have missed the training also. Because in India, we see that even training also, it is mostly like a subjective. They take decisions based on the subjectivity. If I am having good connection with my boss and my boss is also from the same region where I belong, then he might promote me to the foreign training. Maybe I may not be doing good. Maybe I might be an average person, and maybe many of my colleagues might be performing far better than me. But my boss will select me because I belong to his region. We both speak the same language. Similarly, as a public servant, we all do tendering. We all do contracting. We all process files relating to contracting, tendering, outsourcing. So you should select the right agency. Next is selection for Bharat Ratna, Padma Awards, Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan, and allocation of natural resources. As a DM, you are involved in the allocation of natural resources. So what is the criteria for the allocation of natural resources? It should be always be on the criteria of objectivity. So we have seen the infamous coal scam, 2G scam. What is lacking there? What is lacking there? Coal scam, 2G scam. What is lacking there? Commonwealth Games scam. What was lacking there? It lack of objectivity. The decisions were subjective. The coal mines were allocated to few businessmen on a subjective criteria. Who would fund the then party? The businessmen, whosoever have funded the political party which was running the government at that point of time, they were given brownie points in allocation in coal mines. So while writing answers, you just write all these points. That's it. You will get very good marks because this question have been asked multiple times in UPSC, which we will discuss later. Why objectivity is important? So answer I have already provided you is that objectivity is important because of these things. Civil servant is involved in all these things, so he should be objective. He should take decisions based on the merits of the case. Next is, then if it is that much important, then how to inculcate objectivity? So that has been also asked in the previous UPSC questions. So you should write all these points. First is training. We always say training. Training changes our minds. That's why even civil servants also, after you enter the governments also, you will be doing lot of trainings. You will be sent to lot of training institutions for doing midterm training, periodic training, like that. Next is, we always say that every time the starting point will be the school. School curriculum needs to be changed accordingly, and critical thinking needs to be adapted to be instilled in the children from school. That's what we are saying, because it always starts from the school. Whatever the things you learn since childhood, that only you will carry. Accordingly, you will develop certain biases, prejudices. That's what we have been saying. Third thing is important thing. This is very important point, because it is a right to review decisions, because it is a hierarchy. As I have told you, civil services or bureaucracy is based on a hierarchy. You have so many hierarchy of officers sitting in the offices. At the bottom you might be having Tahsildar. I am talking about the revenue administration. Tahsildar. Above Tahsildar, it might be a block development officer. Above block development officer, it might be a sub collector or joint collector, and above him, additional district magistrate. Above him, it is a district magistrate. So if Tahsildar is not taking the decision on a objective grounds, he is taking decisions on subjectivity, then you as a citizen, you can approach the higher authority. What is that higher authority? Maybe sub-collector, or maybe joint collector, or maybe collector. You will go to the collector and you will put your grievance that, sir, this Tahsildar under this area, he is taking decisions on these subjective criteria. He is favoring for certain individuals. So you please take action on him, or you please see. That's what we are saying. What is the appellate authority we are having? Even as an administrator, today I might be involved in the land revenue department. Maybe tomorrow I will be under some other department. Maybe tomorrow I will be under some other department. So if This is the office. This is the office to which public are facing. It is a public facing office. Maybe Tahsildar. Tahsildar is the first, or SHO office is the first point which will have direct interaction with the public. So if public is not satisfied public is not satisfied with SHO's decisions, maybe he might be taking decisions out of subjectivity. Then they should approach next superior office. If they are not satisfied with those decisions also, then he can approach the tribunals, which are quasi-judicial in nature. And the last option always will be the judiciary. So decision taken at one level, decision have been taken at SHO level to file a false FIR. If you approach the superintendent of police of the districts, maybe he will direct SHO that please take decision based on the rational basis. So you please kindly drop FIR or don't take further action, like that. If you are not satisfied with superintendent of police response also, you can again approach the police board, which is a tribunal, which is of a quasi-judicial nature. Even if you are not satisfied there, you will approach the High Court or Supreme Court or District Court, whatever be the court. In that way, we can try to inculcate objectivity, because this SHO will know that definitely if public is not satisfied with my decision, definitely he has the option to approach my boss. So I will take decisions based on objectivity. In that way, the individual will learn to take decision on objective, on the merits of the case. Next is same right to be heard, like social audits. With social audits, the things now are in the public domain. Whatever the works you are undertaking, either under Manrega or under any other scheme, all those decisions will be subject to social audit. Then naming and shaming will happen, then accordingly investigations might happen. So I will take decisions as an administrator or as a public servant. I will take decisions on a rational basis. Otherwise my decisions I will be put under scrutiny by the public, by the media, everyone in that village. Next is, with the rapid advancements in technology also, civil servants has to imbibe objectivity, because you see there are so many e-government projects. So many means literally so many. Every department, every public facing organizations are coming out with their own e-governance projects, are coming there with own websites, own applications. For example, you see e-passport. You can apply passport online, as well as you can check the status of your application. Similarly, you know the portal of MCA 21, which is run by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, where you can see your company registrations and all, where your file is pending and at what level it is pending. Next is information management. So if the decisions taken on rational basis, based on the facts and figures, so you have to collect those facts and figures, and you should compile them. You should compile all the facts and figures. Thus, compilation we call it as Management Information System, that is MIS. So, based on those facts and figures, you will take the decision, or you will make a policy. That work right now is doing, Niti Aayog is doing that. It is drafting policies based on the facts and figures. There is no criteria of subjectivity. Everything is purely on objectivity. Everything is based purely on facts and figures, based on the merits of the case. Next is transparency, accountability. We have every government office should procure all the items from the GEM. So there is no subjectivity. You are not taking from any local vendor or any of your relative you are taking. You are just ordering any, even pen or paper also in the government offices. They are being procured through GEM, through open bidding. Whosoever will give me the best price, whosoever will come under L1, I will take from him or her or from that particular organization only. Same e-office. So Each of your notings, file notings, your views are being recorded in e-office. It is digitally recorded. You cannot tamper. Usually in the old days, it usually happens that files will be burned or they will be missed on one day. But with e-office, all your decisions, all your file notings will be there. They will be digitally recorded. And if public provides those file notings under RTI, government should give them. The public will scrutinize your decisions, your file notings, your observations, your comments in those files. Similarly, accountability also, we have RTI, we have CP grams, you can complain. So with this accountability factor also, civil servants are bound to take rational decisions. As I have already told you, as an SHO, if you take decisions on subjective criteria, if the citizen is aggrieved, he will complain to the, even he under CP grams, he can complain to the Prime Minister. So, objectivity, how to inculcate objectivity? How objectivity is being instilled in civil servants? All these points you should write in your answers to get good marks. I have given in a pointed format. Same question have been asked by the UPSC. So finally, again, I am just saying that the question has been asked by UPSC multiple times in a different way. The way is different, but the question is more or less same. All these points we have discussed also. Again, I am discussing that if there is no objectivity, if there is lack of objectivity, what will happen? Why objectivity is such an important value that civil servants should imbibe? Why we are talking? Because what we are saying is that if there is lack of objectivity, opposite to objectivity is subjectivity. If there is lack of objectivity means it is subjectivity. Subjectivity means nepotism, favoritism. You will give contract tenders to your own people. You will give jobs to your own people. You will send foreign trainings to your own people or maybe your favorite people. So earlier Padma Awards used to be like that, you all know. But what about Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards now? They have been streamlined, and many of the unsung heroes of the soils, they have been recognized, and we are honoring them. They have been honored, which is a very good step. Similarly, you know, our universities, which have huge impact on the society because they teach the students, the younger generation, the upcoming generation, the directors of those universities, vice chancellors, as well as PSU, independent directors in PSU boards, all those appointees are based on the political affiliations. There is no objective criteria. There should be objective criteria. But sadly, there is no objective criteria, and if you are affiliated with a particular political party, you will be given a director, independent director in a PSU board, or you will be made a vice chancellor of a particular university, or you will be made as a registrar of certain university, etc. and so on. Similarly, if there is lack of objectivity, the officials would abuse and misuse their positions. I have quoted one example. You can write so many examples based on the current affairs. I have quoted one example where the ex-chief secretary of UP, Neera Yadav, she was involved in Noida land allotment scam. She influenced the decision-making process, and the decisions were made in such a fashion that it has benefited, that land allotment has benefited her relatives, her friends. That is what we are talking. In a country like India, where there are so many parameters to create differences in society, the objectivity is very, very important. Second point, and this is the last point also, you can add a few more points if you can based on the current affairs. I am leaving it open to you. But I will tell you, even if we discuss the questions, previous UPSC questions on this topic also, I will provide the same things in your model answers, because It is such a, I have made it such a simple that I have given all the points to you. You can write same points and you can add few more points, few more examples in your answers to get very, very good marks. Second point is least concern for economy and effectiveness. If you are lacking objectivity, you will be least bothered for economy and effectiveness, which is a very dangerous kind of thing. For example, I have given one example. There was one scheme of Khelo India, under which government was providing free sports kits to the students. But what happened was that the decision was like that every school was to be given. So every school has been given these kits, but in many of the schools, they don't have any playground. But government has not collected any data that what are the schools that are having playgrounds, what are the schools that are not having playgrounds. They have not collected any data. They have provided the kits to every school, and the schools who don't have playground, those kids have been wasted. Those are lying idle. So there is everywhere, without taking facts and figures, if you are taking decisions, there is always a wastage of public money, wastage of public expenditure. It is bound to happen. So if you don't have objectivity, then these parameters of economy, of efficiency and effectiveness, they will be put to background. They will be ignored. Then who is at loss? Public is at loss. There will be wastage of public expenditure. Those funds could have been utilized elsewhere, so maybe some people would have got benefited with those funds. But without the rationality in our decisions, if the decisions are not based on facts and figures, definitely there is a wastage of public money. That is why we are saying is that objectivity is very, very important for a civil servant, particularly in a country like India. I hope you all have understood the concept of objectivity. That's it. If you have any doubts, please feel free to message me, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all.